Hi everybody, it's me once, and yes, honey.
Yo, you already know what it is. It's your boy Leo. How's everybody?
Yes, yes, yes. How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? So
It,
we
how's you feeling? Is you feeling good?
we haven't done a real life topic in a long time. So today's
You
topic,
think so?
yeah, we haven't done one.
Oh, you said this is real talk.
Yeah, this is Bill Talk.
Oh, okay.
So
You said we
today,
here to say the plan.
I didn't say all that.
Oh, you ain't trying to be Captain Planet?
Maybe.
Oh.
So today's
Did you
on.
watch that show growing up?
Huh?
Did you watch that show growing up?
Yeah.
Oh, that's like one of my favorite cartoons.
Oh.
Captain Planet, he's a hero.
Yeah, he has like a
His
what?
head is blue.
Yeah.
Okay.
So today's topic, today's life is homelessness.
Mm.
So
Homelessness.
what
Homelessness.
what do you guys think when you think about homelessness? What comes to you when you think about homelessness? What is your opinion on homelessness? What causes homelessness? There's number of things
Well,
that causes homelessness.
I know if you lose your job and you can't pay your rent, that can cause you to be homeless.
True.
Yes, it can.
True. There's a lot of things that causes homelessness, and we're gonna go into it. My opinion, like you said, if you lose your job, it can cause you not to be able to pay your bills or be able to pay your rent, and also if you're living with someone and that person is not paying their rent and they're just using the money to do whatever, and they're not paying the rent, both of you can become homeless.
I've been in a situation like that.
You have?
Yeah, like I was dating somebody and they didn't want to pay the rent. So we had to leave the premises.
Okay.
My heart was broken. I like that apartment.
Then also, what if also if
But this
you
is why it's always good to have two jobs.
mhm.
So that you don't have a problem with um, homelessness. As long as you have a job, you can pay your rent. But I know even if you have two jobs and you're living with somebody, and like you said, they don't pay the rent, then you still become homeless.
Yeah, you still become homeless.
So
Then
to me, it's
also
like people should, if you're not gonna work two jobs, at least have some money saved, or at least try to save some money, so you don't run into that problem.
true, true. Then also, if you're dating someone, the apartment is theirs, the house is theirs, vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
and you guys um, get into a fight, you break up, or whatever the case may be, and they say get the fuck out, or they say
Oh yeah,
we're done,
you can become homeless.
you
Then.
can become homeless. These are different ways you that cause homelessness. Now, in our LGBT community, TGNC, and trans community, there are different ways where our young adolescents or people in our community can become homeless if their family members or their families don't accept them.
Yeah, that can cause you homelessness too.
Or,
A lot of people, I think, have that story. They either come out the closet or their family members have found out when they were in the closet or found out who they are and they kick them out and they have nowhere to go. And they become homeless. And then
yeah,
you run the streets doing God knows what just to get a coin.
yeah, they run the streets doing God knows what, child. And homelessness is, and I'll just give you guys a little definition of it. It is someone without a permanent dwelling. That means an apartment, a house, somewhere to stay in. And trust and
Somewhere to
believe,
live, yeah.
a shelter is nowhere for nobody. I
I
mean,
heard they treat people horribly, man.
it depends on what type of shelter is it. If it's one of those places where it's a single occupancy housing, where you go through a program or an agency, then it's better. But if it's a shelter where you have to guard your bag for your life, then it's horrible. Then it's horrible. But at the same time, we as a community, it doesn't have to, you don't have to be gay, straight, bisexual, whatever you are. Don't pass these people by on the street.
Oh, people that are homelessness?
Yeah, are homeless, yeah.
Homeless, yeah.
Don't pass them by on the street because you have to remember that could be you.
Yeah, but then you have to ask, did they make these bad decisions in their life to get to that point?
True.
Because some people do heavy drugs and heavy drinking, and it can cause them to be homelessness.
Which,
yeah, cause them to be homeless.
which we'll go into, that's another question we'll go into in a minute. But,
because that kind of fits in with everything. Drinking, drugs, depression, there's a lot of things that can cause you to be homelessness. Because you can be living with somebody and they can pass away out of nowhere, and then you have nowhere to go.
that's true.
That brings on depression. That brings on homelessness. That brings on drinking and drugs, depending on how close you are with that person. Especially if it's a relative or a spouse or somebody you're dating or married to, for that matter.
Yeah.
Or it could be one of your children. You know what I mean? That brings on a lot of stuff. A lot of stress.
So, homelessness is caused by a lot of different things, and also, if you're in a domestic relationship and your partner physically abuse you, and they have all the cars, meaning the money, the everything, and in your own mindset, the only thing for you to do is run away. Because if you stay with the person, they're going to end up killing you, or you're just going to be abused. So homelessness is caused by a lot of different things. And I've seen and experienced, me, my own self, in my past relationship before I met my husband. I was once homeless. I left my ex, and I became homeless. But I picked myself up, and I said, no, I can't live like this.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot for someone to go back to start from ground zero.
Yeah, it does. Because once you hit rock bottom, it takes a while to start because you have to find somewhere to live or somebody to take you in. Then you have to go get a job so you can have money in your pocket so you can eat.
Yeah.
And you don't have to hit that
and then
person's mouth.
when you're living with
if you're living with somebody and you don't pay rent, then you gotta hear them talk about you constantly, and they're gonna think you're lazy and you don't want to work. And some people aren't understanding to other people's situations.
Yeah,
and I think that's what we need more of is people that understand each other more. That can, to me, slow down with the homelessness.
Yeah, and then when you're living with someone,
because living with people is not easy.
It's another thing because they might not, at the time and point when you explain the situation to them, they'll understand. But after a couple of days, they would start to get weary, and they'd be like, okay, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? But if they have never been in that situation, don't have a heart to help, then they won't understand. And
a lot of people don't understand because they've never struggled. They've never gone through anything. They've never been homeless. If you've never been homeless, then you don't know what that feels like.
It's true, and if they don't have a heart to help, because first of all, homelessness can cause a lot of different things. And this is why housing is also a health care. And this is why housing is important. Because if you don't have somewhere to live, how can you get a job? If you don't have somewhere to live, how can you shower? If you don't have somewhere to live, how can you brush your teeth? I have passed through Penn Station so many times, and I have passed through North Penn Station, New York Penn Station, train stations, and I've seen people wash up in the train stations. And these are homeless people. And I've seen people during the holidays walk past these people. I mean, at Thanksgiving, give them a plate or something because some of us are fortunate to sit down in a home, in an apartment, and have dinner.
Yeah.
These people,
Well, they would either have to go to a shelter to
or a
eat
church,
or a church to eat. And sometimes their food isn't good.
yeah, So these people,
So if you do have the extra, do go out and serve the community. Help
Yeah.
out in your community.
yeah. But if you know a friend, and that friend is homeless, and they say, "Hey, can I stay with you for a couple of months, or for such and such, to get myself together?" Don't turn them away. Because if they're trying to get on their feet, that's where you come in and you have to be that healthcare. Meaning, they need that shower to make it to that interview. They need that iron to iron their clothes to make it to that interview.
Because they need starch.
Yeah.
Okay.
They need a little change from you to go to welfare.
Or to get to the interview.
Or to get to an interview. Or a breakfast in the morning to make it to the interview.
Yeah. And some people feel like when they're like, and I'm glad you said that. Some people feel like you're a burden to them, or they're taking care of another child. Some people get very angry when they have to help another person. If you're living with them, then it becomes, well, when are you gonna get up and do something? And it's like this person is getting up every day to apply for jobs, to have some patience. Child life is funny the way it works.
It is, and a lot of people
and the people you meet in it.
A lot of people don't understand. And don't get me wrong, a lot of people can be ungrateful. A lot of people can forget what you've done for them. But at the same time, you have to remember that your blessing is coming from God. Even if you have a futon or a pull-out couch or just an empty space in your living room or your bedroom if you have a second room, that person, you could be a lifesaver to that person from committing suicide.
Yeah.
Because homelessness can bring on a lot of different things.
Depression being
when
one
somebody is at ground zero,
yeah,
and they're not their self anymore, every day they have to smell their own body odor. Every day they have to look at their self, that they don't have on clean clothes. They're not able to wash themselves. They're not able to do what they need to do for their own self. And especially if they're a part of our community. Once you've been chastised by your own family, there's no turning back from that. So, if you reach out to somebody that you call your adopted mother, your sister, or whatever, and that's their last resort,
or best friend,
and that's their last resort, don't turn them away, because they are on life support now. So the minute you turn them away, boom, it might be 2 days that you might not hear from them.
Something could have happened in those 2 days.
Yeah. It might be 2 days that you might not hear from them, and they are gone. Channel 5 news, 2 news, or whatever, you hear somebody done get lost in the woods. Somebody done committed suicide, and it could have been that person that was trying to reach out to you for help. This is why having health insurance or having health care is not just enough.
But the government plays a big role in that too. With all the money that it's making, they should at least have decent shelters for the people that are homeless.
Exactly.
Because if everyone had their own apartment, or at least a studio apartment, or somewhere to rest their head, we wouldn't have a majority of homeless people.
Exactly. And they also play a major role, because it's one thing to have a landlord that is one thing to have an apartment. And this is another reason what causes homelessness, because the rent in New York City, it goes up.
Every year.
Every year.
Is it every year?
Once you renew your lease. And it's stress for a person
Yeah, because it feels like you have to work harder.
Yeah, it stress for a person, especially if you don't have a program, if you're not on Section 8, if you don't have somebody living with you that is subleasing or whatever
Mm-hmm.
that can help you pay that rent. And if you're only working one job or you're working two jobs, it's stress. And that person, and if they're not paying the rent and they go to housing court and the landlord wants them out, they lose the apartment. They become homeless. They lose everything they worked so hard for. So how can they keep the job? So now they have to
Good
go.
question.
So now they have to go work. They have to. They're back at ground zero again and work their way up again from where they started, where they were.
But
This
some people have to take life a little more serious. Some people play too much.
is
Like,
true.
we had a friend that we were helping that was staying with us that was homeless. And the person, as we're trying to help them get on their feet, all they want to do is play. They don't take life seriously. And I'm like, you can't, at the age of 23 or 22, not take life seriously, especially when you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
That's, I want to say bad karma, but that's, what's the word I'm looking for? Well, anyway, that's just bad. You know what I mean? At a certain age, you have to grow up. You know what I mean? But if your life has always been wild, it'll be hard to focus
Yeah.
after a while.
Yeah.
Because that's what I got from the person. I said their life has always been wild and it's hard for them to focus and they're just jumping around from apartment to apartment. And I said, you can't do that. You have to add one time in your life take responsibility for your own actions.
True. I agree with you. I mean, some people they're still in party mode
Yeah.
and they're not in serious mode. You know?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, my experience, I never really had party mode until I went on my own. I was always in serious mode after my mom got sick. So it was never party mode. But some people they stay in party mode even if they're 21, 22, 23, and it takes someone with a nurturing spirit to take them out of that party mode and say, listen, there ain't no time to party mode, you have to get yourself together.
Yeah.
Because life is gonna pass you by and you will end up at rock bottom. So this is
I think when you're a teenager, and this is for people that are coming out the closet, I think when you're coming out the closet and you're young, life is difficult. So you kind of have to plan your steps a little bit. Because if your life is out of control and all over the place and you're teens, then by the time you get to your 20s, your mindset should be different. Your
yeah.
mindset should be, okay, I've played enough, let me get my life on track.
Yeah.
Let me go get a job and make sure that I'm covered.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's a mind frame. It's a mindset as well. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I agree with you. I really do.
And that's a good point. A lot of people do like to party. Everyone likes to go to the club. And my whole thing is, the club scene is good, but not if you don't have a job.
True.
Not if you don't have a pot to piss in.
True.
Because the people you're hanging out with obviously don't care about you if they're not willing to take you in.
Yeah.
They just want to snatch you up and go to the club. Going to the club with not a pot to piss in and your own feet to stand on is like, what? What's the use of going to party then?
But see, I think some people do that where they use the partying, and other stuff to try to refrain from the depression of not having somewhere to live.
Understandable. But not when you're 20-something years old. You can't still think like that.
It's true.
Especially if you haven't graduated school, don't have anything planned for the future, haven't took time to map anything out, don't know what your next move is.
Yes.
at a certain point, you do have to grow up and be serious.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it does hurt because the people around you, you can see them partying and having fun. And it's like, well, why do I have to do this and everybody else gets to do that?
I agree with you.
Sometimes you have to deal with the cards that have been dealt.
I agree with you. I really do. And the next question is, and why? Why homelessness? How can we prevent this? How can we lessen the numbers of homelessness in our community?
I would say one thing is having a job. But we live in a generation where the younger generation, everyone walks around with an attitude problem.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like to listen. Everybody thinks they know it all. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I hate that. Everybody I've met recently swears they know everything. And it's like, if you know everything, then how do you not have somewhere to live since you know everything?
Exactly.
So to stop, or one of the reasons to stop homelessness is just by staying to yourself, minding your business, and just keep focused on the bag. Because without money, you're not going to have a place to live anyway.
Exactly.
Because no one's going to let you live in their house rent free.
And even if they do, they're going to give you stipulations.
Yeah, when you live with people, they expect you to
Get up and go do work on your
take
business.
out the garbage, do the dishes.
Even if they say, okay, you can stay with me as long as you do this. Every day you get up and you go handle your business.
Mm-hmm.
Every day you get up, you make sure the bathroom is clean. You make sure you take out the garbage. You make sure your area where you're sleeping is clean.
Mm-hmm.
Some people might let you stay with them for free, but you have to get on your grind. Don't be comfortable, people, in your situation.
I think a lot of people do that, and that's a downfall.
And
they get comfortable with their situation is.
Yeah, and that's what happens to a lot of us. We get comfortable in the situation.
That's a second. That's kind of a second answer to your question. Comfortability. Don't get comfortable in your situation.
Yeah.
Stay focused on what you need to do as an adult.
Yeah, and then another reason, what can cause homelessness?
Hold on. Going back to the other question. 3 is everyone's focused on having a boyfriend.
Okay.
That's the wrong thing to be focused on when you're homeless.
Not just a boyfriend, a spouse.
Somebody to take care of them.
Yeah, when you're homeless, you shouldn't be thinking about having a boyfriend, having a girlfriend, having a whatever.
One night stand, having nothing. You should be focused on what you need to do as an adult.
On you.
Because a lot of young people are looking for boyfriends. And I think that's another downfall.
But then some people think like this: if I get a boyfriend, if I get a girlfriend, that would help me not to be homeless. Don't get into a relationship.
Well, some people do think like that.
Yeah, but then it turns out wrong because you're going into a relationship where that person has to take care of you.
Yeah.
Where that person has to be the sole proprietor or the sole provider for you.
Yeah.
And then you become a burden.
Then you're stressing that person out because they got to feed them and you don't want to do anything.
Yeah, you become a burden to them.
And this is why I say people need to stay focused and stay on their grind.
Yeah, you become a burden to that one person. So, I don't understand. Yeah, so stay focused on you. Stay focused on you. You become a burden to that one person.
When you get in a relationship and you don't have anything to offer, it makes you look bummish.
Well, yeah. I mean, people think that if they have
sometimes people think if they have a pretty face.
Yeah, people think if they have a nice, how should I put it in respectful terms? If they have a nice backside or if they have a nice front, and that's all they need. And if the person that they're dating or they're going into the relationship is cool with them not having a job, and they say that they're gonna have a job, they're gonna get a job, then that's fine. But in that person mentality, as long as I do it good in the bedroom, I don't need to get a job.
And that's the wrong mind frame to have. Because nobody should have to take care of the next person. Because once you get into a relationship and a couple of months have passed, say 2 or 3,
and you're still not working, that is going to become homelessness because that person that was interested in you realizes that you don't want to do anything with your life, and they're going to wind up kicking you out of their house.
Kicking you out, y'all gonna wind up arguing, y'all gonna
Breaking
wind up
up.
breaking up.
And then the cops have to be called.
Yeah, and then it's gonna turn out worse. So then it's gonna become a domestic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then that person is gonna regret dating you.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't want that. So don't think by getting into a relationship that's gonna fix your home. That's gonna fix you from being homeless. No.
That's not at all. And like I said earlier, the government needs to step in more and do more. They can do a lot more than just shelters.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There should be a place for people that have nowhere to go. Better than a shelter. You know what I mean?
And then another thing.
Or maybe they should call it something different. Maybe they should call it paradise.
Yeah. Another thing.
Or the shelters should have, and they might have them, I'm not sure. When you go into a shelter, the first thing they should hand you is a job application. Like
Yeah.
the shelter should be connected to jobs, so
Yeah.
that the first thing they can do is get you a job so that you can start looking for your own place or somewhere to live.
Or somebody that deals with jobs.
Yeah, because when you go to a shelter, I think a lot of people get comfortable with just being there.
Right? Yeah. Another thing. Don't think by having sex with somebody that have a situation that's gonna get you an apartment, I'm not gonna say on YouTube, is the right answer.
Mm.
Because then you have to go see a doctor for the rest of your life. Then you have to go and get a needle shoved up in your arm for the rest of your life and take pills for the rest of your life. Don't get stuck in ground zero and try to find options to get out of ground zero.
And stop being lazy. A lot of people are lazy and don't want to do anything.
Yeah, sometimes it's better to take that long road where you can say, okay, I made it out of ground zero.
People stay motivated.
Yeah.
I tell people that all the time. Stay motivated. If you're not motivated, you're not going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
You have to stay motivated. Because there's too many distractions out here. And people get distracted so fast that they change course. And before you know it, they're out on the street.
Exactly. 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 And also, if you know someone that need a place to stay, don't be afraid to take them in. I mean, it might hurt you because you don't want to have
You mean like a friend or a random person?
A friend.
Taking in random people,
Yeah.
sometimes, child.
No.
That person involved you.
Someone that you know that became homeless, like in the split of the moment, don't be afraid to take them in, but make sure you set your standards. Give them a time limit. Okay, you have 6 months to get yourself together. Within that 6 months, you should see progress.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not together,
That goes with maturity and stop partying.
yeah. If they're not,
like it's all linked together.
yeah. If they're not together within that 6 months, then they already know what they gotta do.
Yeah.
You know, but it's all to prevent not having good health care. Homelessness and housing is health care.
Mm-hmm.
Because being homeless can cause a lot of different diseases. Being homeless can cause STDs, can cause a lot of different things because
It can cause a growth in attitude.
yeah, because
But if you don't have an attitude problem and you become homelessness, it can change. Homeless, sorry.
yeah,
It can change your whole perspective on life, especially when no one's trying to help you.
because
It can make you angry,
if you're out on the street,
and people sometimes take that attitude and what's the word I'm looking for? Lash out on everybody else.
exactly, because they're hurting.
Yeah.
If you're out on the street and you're homeless, you have no money, you're hungry, but you know by the next morning you can get up and go to the food stamp office and by 12 o'clock they'll give you a little food stamps for emergency or cash for emergency, but you don't want to do that, but sometimes it becomes hard. I'm not saying that's the route, but sometimes in dire strait, some people use their bodies when they're homeless to feed themselves or to get what
And that
they
doesn't make
need,
anything better.
or to get what they need.
Because you're just giving that person what they want, just so you can have a place to stay.
Not for the place to stay. I'm saying when they become homeless, they have to eat. So they go and they do what they need to do to feed themselves.
People, McDonald's is always hiring, go get you a job.
To feed themselves.
You know what I mean? Like, to me, when it comes to that, there shouldn't be an excuse because fast foods are always hiring.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you can always go get a job, they give you a lunch break, they give you free food on your lunch break.
Yeah.
But a lot of people think they're better than any type of job. And it's like a job is a job.
The guy.
And we are not.
Yes.
No. You see that the guy that had to take a step back.
Yeah. Jeffrey Owens.
Yeah. And we don't know his financial situation, but going to coming from that that world, he could have been homelessness.
He could have been homeless, yeah.
If he didn't go out and get a regular job. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You see these celebrities on television, you think they're making millions of dollars, but if they're not working constantly, they could be on the street by tomorrow.
It could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
It could happen to homelessness can happen to
And he's a good example, even that he wasn't home on the streets, but he could have. You know what I mean?
Even the people when the hurricane had hit Puerto Rico, I'm quite sure a lot of people became homeless because of the damages in Puerto Rico. It can happen to anybody. It all depends on the mindset of the person.
And that goes to what just happened a couple of days ago with 9/11. Well, not a couple of days ago, but a couple of days ago was 9/11. And a lot of people had passed away.
Yeah,
and if your mother or father was working in that building and they had children, then the children become homeless.
Become homeless, yeah. 17 years ago was 9/11.
So anything can cause homeless.
And
or cause you to be homeless.
Even if your mother or your father passed or your mother passed and it so happened that the one parent, like myself, doesn't accept your sexuality, you become homeless. So a lot of different things can cause homelessness, you know, but that's where you need to grow a support system. And having a support system, people that you call auntie, mother, so forth, you know, they don't really have to be your real family. But this is where you grow a support system so when things like this happen,
hey, how are you?
How are you?
Thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you for joining. So when things like this happen, you can go to them. And they say, listen, I'm going to help you for such and such a time, but you got to get back on your feet. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The topic is homelessness. So if you guys have any comments, just write them in there.
Yes.
If you have any an opinion about it or you want to talk about your situation, if you've ever been homelessness.
Yes, the topic on today's life is homelessness. If you guys have any comments or experience being homeless, please share it with us. We want to hear from you guys. Again, thank you for watching. So
sharing and subscribing.
Yes. So grow a support system. Get somebody that you know how
one says hi, the other one says you're welcome, and then he just wrote how.
Yeah. Your experience about being homeless, like
or if you have a friend that's
been homeless.
Do you guys go out and feed the homeless? What's your take on it? I was saying earlier that the government could do more. Like, I know there's shelters out here, but I feel like they can do more with all the money that the government is making.
Yes.
And then I also had said that when you go into a shelter, the first thing they should do is give you a job application so you can go and apply for a job so you can get on your feet.
Yeah.
Like, jobs should be connected to shelters.
Yes. We're doing great. How are you? I'm great. How you doing? Um, yes, jobs should be connected to shelters, but
Like I
in
know when you go there, when you go there, do they give you an application?
I'm not sure. That's great. Thank God
We're
that you're
good.
good.
I'm glad you're doing good.
I am not sure if they give you applications, and it's
Because I know when you go to
also
welfare, they give you applications.
even with
Or they
some
give you a piece of paper for a work program.
yeah they do.
And I'm like,
Even
okay, if y'all can do that for welfare, you should be able to do it for the shelters.
some people that are in prison too, they become homeless.
That's what I'm saying. Like even in that situation, if you're coming out of jail and you have nowhere to go and you have to go to a shelter, then they should be able to, hey, this job is hiring, or this job, because let me see. When you're like, if you're in that type of situation, there's nothing wrong with doing maintenance.
Yeah,
I don't see anything wrong with that. I think between maintenance and McDonald's, everybody should be able to do those jobs.
I love your
Vlogs.
thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Yeah, between maintenance and working fast food. Sorry, you guys. And working fast food.
Like I know maintenance, they probably gotta check backgrounds and stuff like that. But to me, maintenance should be a everybody's job.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Like everybody should be able to do it. It shouldn't have any requirements, unless you're working in like hospitals or something.
Yeah. It
Or
should.
school, that should take a
Because-
requirement. But you can maintenance anyway. Like you should be able to maintenance in the park. Like I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, yeah. Because some people are coming home from doing 6 years in prison, 5 years in prison. Thank you so much. We want to hear from you. What is your take on homelessness?
Please subscribe if you haven't.
I think he is subscribed to my
Oh,
channel.
okay.
Yes. Some people are coming home from doing 6 years, a year in prison, 8 months in prison, and they might have lost. See, what
And this is why I say the government, not to cut you off, but this is why I said the government needs to help more.
Yeah.
Because what do you do with the people that are coming home and have nowhere to go?
Exactly, and they have lost their apartment. You're so nice. Thank you. You too.
Because this goes back to 9/11. Say there's a person working at 9/11 and they had, say, a family member that was in jail that was coming home soon.
Yeah.
And the person that they were going to go stay with passes away because of the accident, the tragic accident that killed millions of people.
Yeah.
Then where does that person go?
I don't know. I don't know. Because, see, when somebody get arrested and yes, they committed a crime. Yes, they messed up. They did something they broke the law. But even during that time, I believe the government would say, well, they messed up, they broke the law, so why should we help them? But them coming out, they have already served their time for the government, for the city, or for the state.
And that's a good point. You said they broke the law, why should we help?
Yeah.
Well, you can't. Why should you help? Because it.
I live by you.
Oh, do you? Oh, cool.
Oh, really? Oh, cool.
I lost my train
Go
of
ahead.
thought.
Why should we help? Why should we help
You
them?
were saying why should you help them,
Yeah.
and this goes back to what I'm saying. If the government is thinking why should I help because you broke the law, how is that person without a place to live going to even start from anywhere? Because you need a place to live to start from there and
Yeah.
work your way up.
Exactly. So instead of them thinking,
So if that's their attitude, that's not helping changing this person's attitude who wants to come out and change their life.
exactly, because the reason why is because after they come out of prison, people still look at them as convicts.
Mhm.
People still look at them as inmates. Instead of them looking at change people or people that wants to change, people that are trying to change. Because another thing is, and it's for people that have committed a crime of molesting with a kid or molesting with a young person. Yeah,
Well, that's not the only reason people go to jail. They go to jail for stabbing and
stabbing,
killing people,
killing, and raping, and
robbing
everything.
people.
And it's harder for when you rape or you molest somebody because you can't be in miles of a school
Yeah,
or where
understandable.
kids are.
Yeah.
But it's because society.
But then how does the government help that person then?
I don't know, because society still look at them as a criminal. Society still look at them. I live right next to your building. Really?
Oh wow.
Oh, this is the guy. He lives right there on our block.
The Spanish guy?
Yeah.
It's always at the church?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's up? Yeah. So. So where was I? Yeah. So society still looks at them as
Criminals.
as criminals, and I understand from their point of view, but we have to try to see if they can change. If the person went to jail for the first time for 3 years and they was good while they were in there, now you know me. I'm sorry. I know who you were. It's just I got so many people on here. It's hard for me to remember. So, if the person went to jail for like maybe 1 time, 2 times, three, well, not
Yeah.
2 times, that's too much. I don't think the government is going to really believe them. They're just going to think that they're just predicates. But if they went to jail for maybe 2 years, I think there should be some type of program or something to help them. Now, there is this thing called Ready with an Enable, where if you go in there, but that is same thing like the shelter. They do help you get off your feet. They do help you with jobs and everything. But you know, people with their pride, they don't want to be cleaning the street.
There's nothing wrong with cleaning the street.
I know. That's,
That a maintenance job comes with great benefits.
thank you. He likes my shirt. He likes my shirt.
I
Thank you.
think he likes your shirt.
Thank you so much. Yeah, so people with their pride, they don't want to be cleaning the street, but you have to.
But there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
That job comes with great benefits, just like doing doing the garbage is maintenance work as well. Right?
Exactly.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong with that.
Exactly. I think that if a person is coming out after 3 years and they did a non-violent crime, or they the only thing that's on their record is just that one thing, there should be
Well,
some.
where does construction fit in then? Because if you have someone who's in jail that's good with their hands, are you going to judge that person for their background
I don't
when
know.
their job is only to build the building?
But they in some prisons, I think they do give courses for construction.
Yeah.
And they tell them, okay, after you get released, you can go and get a job. But if the person, how are they going to get a job when they don't even have proper clothing to put on if they're homeless?
Understandable.
Because you have to also remember.
Well, do churches give out clothes, don't they?
Yeah, they do. Because you have to also remember, if this person.
And that's another thing. Speaking of churches and clothing, the government needs to make sure that everyone's getting a decent amount of clothes.
I see you in the front of the building. Yeah, I know. See, this is another thing.
No, I was saying that they need to make sure that there's enough clothes for everybody and they're getting decent clothes. Some of the clothes that you give somebody may look horrible.
Yeah.
Or it may be, you know what I mean, wool, and that may make their skin itch. Some people
Yeah.
do have sensitive skin. So it's like if you're going to give out free clothes, make sure that they're up to some type of standard.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
We appreciate it.
We appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're so selfish, girl.
I know.
He said, we.
Another thing is that sending them to get a job is one. Sending them to get a job is one. But what if they don't have a place to live?
That's what I'm saying. Anybody coming from that situation and they have nowhere to go. First of all, if you're coming out of jail you should go to a shelter. Like that should be all of these things to me should be connected so you can help people get back on their feet.
Yeah, because they still need something to wear. They still need, because if the man went to jail, let's say he's married, he had kids. I'm 18-year-old.
Who is this? I thought it was the older guy.
I don't know. Let's continue the conversation.
But anyway, all these things need to be connected.
All these things need to be connected.
I'm thinking about the kid that works at CTAL.
Probably.
But all these things need to be connected because if you're coming out of jail and say they have to put you in a shelter because you have nowhere to go.
Yeah.
The shelter should provide clothes as well as the churches and all the other places.
Yeah.
Like everything should be a little more easier than what it is.
Yeah. Yeah. Are you guys brothers? No. We're not brothers. We're not brothers. Because what if the person went to jail and his wife left him, they had kids, and the wife said, okay, I won't have anything to do with you anymore, she done find somebody. Now this person become homeless. Not only did he end up in prison, not only when he come out of prison, he's going to be homeless.
Yeah.
So, how does that play out for that person?
That's why I said all these things need to be connected.
Yeah. Like, I think there needs to be some type of advocate or somebody to advocate for these persons, because also, if the person is put on probation, if the person is put on parole, how can they meet their parole? Well, if they don't have the address, they ain't going to nobody parole.
Okay.
They getting out of prison. so, but I think it's the same way with probation. I'm not sure, because I've never been on those things. But, how can they function knowing that they're coming from confinement and they finally get out of freedom, and they're homeless?
Yeah. We're losing light.
I know. So, I'll turn on the mic. 1 minute, you guys.
Thank you guys for watching. The topic is homelessness. We were just giving our opinion on it and how we can stop it just as a community.
Yes.
And what people need to do more of, which is be understanding and help each other out so people aren't living on the streets.
Yeah, so people are not living on the street, you know. And it's good. It's good that we have HRA helping, and it's good that people can go to HRA for services and pay rent and different things. But there are a lot of different people. Homelessness comes with a lot of different things. People coming out of prison, people coming out of rehab, a lot of different things. And homelessness happens today. So people, if you know somebody that needs a little place to stay for a short time, don't be afraid to take them in. You know? So this is today's topic on today's life, homelessness. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for liking, subscribing, and sharing. Hi everybody, it's me Winston. Yes, honey.
You already know what it is. It's your boy Leo. And we are out of here. Take care, you guys.